Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Matt, and we are going to talk about g.l.o.w Season 1, Episode 8. It's called Maybe It's All the Disco. Full spoilers for the episode, as always. You know what? I am genuinely impressed at the progression of this show, in terms of its writing quality. Because I feel like this episode reached a pinnacle for me, and
hmm
where in terms of I mean, obviously the actual fun of getting ready for the event took a back seat. This was more of a character-driven, personal side of the story. And the main plot of this one, of course, is that Ruth gets worried she's pregnant. And I actually thought this was really neatly set up, with all the other
hmm
girls talking about how, our cycles have all kind of lined up and they're all wanting tampons at
Yeah.
the same time.
Linked like a Bluetooth.
Sure, sure. Uh, but and I don't think there was any hint in that scene, at least from memory. Admittedly, if I go back and watch it now with the knowledge that that's what she's thinking,
Mm.
maybe I'll see something that actually does kind of foreshadow that she is worried that she's not
Yeah.
also having the same time of the month. But she goes and gets a test, and it turns out positive. And by the way,
So
my first
I
thought,
didn't realize that the P tests back in the day
this is
were
exactly what I
like,
was about to say, Matt. I had
yeah,
no idea a pregnancy test in the 80s looked like this.
like it's a full on chemistry lesson.
Yeah,
Like,
there was test tubes and like, little rack and
yeah, and I was just like, I get the mechanics of it, but like, man, it's easier. It might be easier just to go to the doctor.
you
You
know,
know?
it's kind of like a computer from. You've heard the story that phones today have more computing power in them than
Yeah.
the entire Apollo space program, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like how computers have gotten smaller and smaller, and we can fit a computer from the 80s into like a little thing about this size, right? And they'll do all the
Right.
same things, probably better. In fact, it's probably 10 times the computer that was in the 80s. Right, I like the idea that pregnancy tests have also went through this metamorphosis, whereas now it
Yeah.
is more or less just a stick.
Well,
That's all
and
you
now
need.
some of them have LCD screens and
Oh,
stuff.
oh, jeez.
Yeah, so like yeah, they're next level like technology for what they are. I mean, it's basically a chemical indicator like when you're taking care of a pool,
I mean, yeah,
you know?
I'm not sure if the LCD screen is necessary. Like, I feel like the color changing one way or the other is good enough. But
Yeah, but sometimes color doesn't read properly and you want to know for sure, you know? So a yes or a no or a smiley face or a
well,
plus
I
minus.
hope,
Um,
I hope that it's Mr. DNA from Jurassic Park that appears on the screen
now,
and goes,
and it says bingo.
"Bingo, you've got a baby human."
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
God damn it, now I want that.
But so yeah, that's pregnancy test. Oof. I was not. I mean, I'm assuming it's correct. I'm assuming they did their research and have the right thing. But
Yeah,
it was
I have
amusing to
no
me.
idea. Yeah, I have no reason to expect that they wouldn't like because it's not like they set it for a gag. It's just like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
daily life
Oh,
type stuff.
yeah. Also, I mean, I say that. I mean, plenty of people making this show are probably old enough that
Yeah.
they remember what pregnancy tests were like back in the 80s.
hmm
I was not born, however, so this was like science fiction to me.
Yeah, you're at
Um,
the cusp of
so
the 80s.
yeah, so but what was so great about this plot, and obviously there was some great stuff sort of leading up to it, where to take her mind off of it, she goes with because Bash is he's AWOL. He's no one knows
He's
where he is.
disappeared.
Yeah.
I'm worried. I'm really worried. Uncle, what was his name? Pablo has gotten to him. You know, or at least mom, from what we found out in the last one.
Yeah, I'm not so sure, but he's AWOL, and Sam's going to check out a venue because obviously they're not going to shoot it at the gym. They're going to shoot it at like a place with
Yeah.
a crowd, and they go. So he ends up taking Ruth to just for a second set of eyes to this. I don't know, this event hall. It's just a
Yeah.
little theater with a bar, and it's big enough that you could put out some chairs in the ring, and
Yeah,
little
it's the
venue.
Mayan theater because during like the 20s in LA, you had a lot of these movie theaters that
Hmm.
had gimmicks. Like that's where the Chinese theater came from,
Well,
and you had the Greek.
this was a Mayan
Uh,
porn theater. Just
yeah, so I did research on that, and that's just a joke for the show
I'm
because
okay with that.
I've yeah, well I've heard about stories about the Mayan. I was like, holy crap, like was it really? And so they did their well, I can't talk due diligence and made me double check it. So, but I thought that was a great joke
It was
because
a great joke,
Ruth,
especially when Ruth said something about, oh, this was world class jacking off, or
yeah,
whatever she said. That was pretty funny.
and Sam just gives her a look like, what the hell? And when that comes from Sam, it's pretty, you know,
Yeah. So
eventful.
there's some really good scenes, and he's like sort of envisioning, and I kind of liked it at the end of that scene. She's like, "Oh, it's perfect," and he's like, "Yeah, I'm glad you agree." But at the start of the scene, he was actually kind of wishy washy on it. But it
Yeah,
was after talking through it that he kind of like showed Ruth his vision and showed how it was kind of perfect.
yeah.
And I liked that he was talking about cameras and stuff. It's something that I don't even think actual wrestling fans think about, is how they cover
Mm.
the matches and how
Yeah.
difficult it is to actually like make it all cut together. Because at this point, it's so slick because they've been doing it in TV for years. But in the 80s, this was all relatively fresh to be on TV.
Yeah, I mean, because it's not like covering a traditional sports thing, because sports event, because you're coming from all different angles. Like the angle of the match can change at any time, and in the WWE style now, they're trained to face the camera, but in the '80s, that's kind of a new thing because they went from just doing like live events with no cameras
Yeah,
to cameras in a short amount of time.
and they
So I
basically
do like that they showed that.
yeah, and they basically eventually settled on sitcom rules, which was
Yeah,
basically the 180-degree rule is that you always stay on the same
yeah,
side. Just unless you're on the other side of the ring, outside the ring, they always stay on the same side to avoid.
no,
Because so you always just kind of know what left and right is, and
yeah.
sort
And
of
when I am
choreography.
watching wrestling on TV and they're in a different place, so like NXT, WWE's developmental program, they enter from a different side than they do on Raw or SmackDown.
Mm,
And if I'm not paying attention, it sometimes throws me, but they keep those rules, like you're talking about the line of action and the
mm.
180 to that side. But I'm so used to seeing it from one way. Like even watching the last episode when they had like a ramp and stuff set up, kind of, they had that in mind. So
Hmm.
it's good that he's thinking. I mean, he is a director at the end of the day. So
Yeah. So, but she ends up making a phone call. We don't know who it's to, but we just hear her say, "Sorry, I didn't know who else to call." And then we see that the next morning Sam comes and picks her up, and they're having a very quiet ride wherever they're
yep.
going. And I mean, I very quickly sort of guessed what it was. If it just the somber tone kind of told you what the mood was and what it was.
Yeah.
And so she's going for an abortion. It was pretty clear, and she goes, and this is the fantastic thing. I actually think my favorite moment of this show so far is in the following scene. Earlier on in the episode, when they go to the theater, and the
Hmm.
woman's showing them around, saying, "Oh, it's going to cost this," and blah blah blah. She's giving them information, and she at one point says, "Oh, you brought your girlfriend or boyfriend," and
Yeah.
they both go, "No, no, 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 we're not a couple," and
Right.
then when they go into the hospital here and they go up to the desk and she's like, "Oh, you need to fill this out," um, and the woman behind the counter is like, "Oh, it's good that you're here," blah 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 blah, and she calls him the boyfriend, and they both go, "No, no, 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 not a boyfriend," and then after a pause, he says, "I'm her husband," and
Hmm.
it's such a great heartwarming moment because Sam, I mean, I've liked Sam. Sam's really entertaining, but he's kind of a dick, right?
Yeah.
He's
Kind
kind
of
of a
not even
dick.
kind of. He is. He is.
Yeah, he's a full-on dick. And this made him so human and gave him layers that he, in this moment, went out of his way to pretend to be her husband to make Ruth feel less embarrassed by what she was
Yeah.
doing. Uh, and it actually was very sweet. And it was the whole scene from this point on was like just a great character, because I think the episode as a whole was a lot of bonding because the girls all are on this plot where Sheila's having a birthday and Jenny's like refusing to let that go, and they're throwing her a disco
Yeah.
party, the
They're
roller
forcing her to
skates.
have a party that she doesn't want, and she in fact tries to hide from numerous times.
Yeah, which was
And
really funny. Yeah,
it's like, well, let me love you is kind of that whole thing where her and Ruth have this understanding, but Sheila's still an outsider, and the fact that in the beginning we see all the girls bonding over them syncing up, they have become like a unit now
yeah.
because they've been training together, and
Uh,
and Sheila's still the outsider, so this was an attempt to bring her in,
Yeah,
and I like that.
even when they're doing all that bonding, well, I say bonding about having their period. It
Hmm.
involves making fun of Arthur for using these big pads as opposed to
Right.
the regular tampons that the rest of them all want to use. Uh, and like you get this sort of banter with them where it does feel like they're starting to feel like a unit. And
Mhm.
even something as simple as when Sheila is hiding from the rest of them and she's in the room, and then they
Mhm.
eventually catch her and they're dragging her off. Like Sheila comes back and says to Ruth, "You're coming, right?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'll be there." And it's like she finds comfort in having Ruth there. Who
Yeah.
remember when they first started her to share a room and how awkward that was and how it felt like they were uncompatible. And now
Yep.
Sheila wants her to be there because it'll make her feel better than being at the party on her own.
Yeah.
So that right there, just enough to show you that there's been some serious bonding going on. But
Yeah.
her and Sam bonded. Obviously, they bonded a little bit because she came up with the Russian accent, and they're bonding over
Yeah.
that, and they've had that. So the rest of that scene at the end, in the clinic, like they're just sweet the entire time. Like Sam like leans over and says, "Oh, I'm supposed to talk about is this, you know, what you want to do, and he's like." He's not really sure what he's supposed to say, but he's kind of going through the motions of
Yeah.
what it's supposed to
He's
be.
so uncomfortable, but trying to play off that he's not. Like it's.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what makes it work really well, though, is you
Mhm.
like, he clearly has no idea what to say, but he's goddamn trying. So give him some
I like
points.
when he's being kind of loud about, yeah, we're married, but yeah, we don't like kids, so this is like worst case scenario. Like
to,
that kind like
to the point, because the nurse behind the counter goes from, "Oh, it's really good that you're here and supporting her,"
yeah,
goes from that to, "Yeah, go wait over there, get away from me.
yeah, get
You're
away
being
from
weird."
me. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty funny, and it all puts Ruth at ease because you can see she's not as tense as when
Yeah,
they go sit down.
and she says a couple of really interesting things here. She says it's not the right time, and then she says it's not the
Mhm.
right baby. And of course, it's not. It's her best friend's husband's
Yeah,
child. So
Debbie's husbands.
that's first and foremost. Second, there's that moment she's walking in and she turns around and cracks a Soviet Union joke in the accent. Uh, and again, it's like this again sweet thing where he's like, "Oh, I'm going to get some donuts." But whilst you're in, I'm going to go get some donuts. And he's like, "Oh, bring me back a pink one." And he makes fun of her for liking the pink donuts.
Yeah,
And at the end, just before she goes in, it's like, "You know what? No, I'm just going to stay here. You can come and get them with me after." It's like, "I'm not going to leave
yeah,
you. I'm here the entire time." And again, it's Sam showing this sweet side, his human side, where yeah, he's a dick, but when push comes to shove, and he's actually made a bond with someone, and it contrasts really well with the rest of the episode because obviously his plot for the rest of the episode is that he actually decides that he needs to break up with Rhonda because it's been
yeah.
unprofessional. And there's that really funny joke at the start where he makes her wait outside.
With,
I can't be late. I'm the director. He goes in and talks to the girls, and then she comes in
yeah.
5 minutes later. "Hey, Rhonda, you're
You
late
gotta be on
there."
time, or I'm gonna start docking you. Well, he also makes that joke after they sleep together, and
Oh my god, that
he's
cracked me up. The period sex
yeah,
joke where he's like, it's like a murder scene down there.
it's like a
Oh.
murder scene, and then he says he's gonna charge her for the sheets. It's coming out of her pay, and just the look she gives him, he's like, "I'm kidding,"
Do you know what I
and
loved about that murder scene joke is that it took me a second to get it because they didn't mention because he didn't say period until later on in the scene. He just
right,
she gets out of bed, she's going to like shower or get ready or whatever, and
mhm,
he just looks under his sheet at his junk and he's like, "It's like a murder scene down there." And first I was like, "What does he mean by that?"
yeah.
Oh, she's on her period. Like it took me a second. It just took me
So
a second to get it.
it's like a grenade. They threw it, and then it landed,
Yeah.
then it
Oh.
exploded. Yeah, and Rhonda, I mean, she has a moment too, right after that, when she talks about that she saw him on the tape and liked what she saw there because she saw him vulnerable,
And quite which is obviously different than usual. But what
right.
I liked about that is obviously Sam went, "Wait, what? How did you see my
Yeah,
date tape?"
yeah,
I like that she
you
never said
know,
it was on a tape with a movie. She just said, "Oh, the
no,
girls all got together and we had a viewing," as if they
yeah,
just sat down and watched his date tape.
right. So she kind of gets that moment where she was just kind of like, yeah, I did like you. Like this isn't to further my career,
Mm.
so that was pretty nice. And you also had Carmen in this episode where they're talking about needing like
Well, hold on a second.
just Bastard.
I just want to talk about the Sam scene for a second.
Okay.
See, once she actually reveals that she does actually like him,
Yeah.
it's not just for furthering her career or whatever. I do like that he immediately actually starts stopping to break up. Like he wants to not break up at that point. He's like,
Yeah.
oh wait, this is a real thing. Oh, and second thought, let's restart. I did think it was a little bit weird that she made that. You can't just reboot me. I'm not a computer. I'm like, would
That's
someone
not a,
would someone say that in the early 80s? I feel like people, normal people. I mean, sure, science nerds who actually work with computers in the 80s.
yeah, but I mean, I know that's her gimmick, but I don't buy that she's really a science nerd. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah. I just it felt like a weird
so
reference to me for someone in the
yeah.
80s. Now everyone would say that. Like everyone knows what rebooting
Well,
a
yeah.
computer
Well,
means. But
it's in our pop culture. Like a reboot is a whole thing. Like there's, but yeah, I'm trying to think what the '80s equivalent would be, and maybe that's why the writers went with that because there's really not one
I
for
guess
the
well,
'80s.
I guess the argument I would accept though is maybe she saw a movie recently that had because obviously like movies have high tech stuff in them and
Yeah.
maybe someone mentioned rebooting a computer and that's that maybe that's how it snuck into the culture before
Yeah.
everyone had computers. It was so
Well, because this is the era of war games,
yeah.
like the movie with Matthew
Yeah,
Broderick.
that was a little bit later in the
So
80s, but yeah, that kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah,
hmm
I can see it. What were we going to say about Carmen, her stuff here?
Just like so Sam's running through the list of stuff that they need for their next show, and it's when he says that they need a bigger place and the cameras and the lights, and
Mm.
Carmen has this look because she knows about Bash and the money, and I don't think anybody else does. So the camera lingers on her,
Oh yeah, well,
and
Cherry kind of. I would say she susses it out. She only susses it
yeah,
out because Carmen has to. She almost prompts the sussing out by saying, "Oh, sometimes shows just don't happen because there's money issues."
yeah, hmm
Is there money issues, Carmen?
yeah. So I like that because that goes back to Carmen and Bash's relationship there that we saw.
Yeah, some other tidbits before we talk about the ending because I did want to talk about the final
Yeah,
scene. So Sheila does actually end up having a good time to the point where she refuses to come over for a cake because she wants to keep roller
right.
skating. So as much as she gets into it, I did love the line, "I don't trust shoes that move."
Yeah.
That was a pretty funny
It's
line.
a sentiment I agree with.
I,
You know.
yeah, although I'd say that more about food than I would like jelly. No, food should not move on its own.
See, I like jelly. So nice PB&J sandwich, which you think is gross for whatever reason.
It is gross.
Like,
I tried it once. It was disgusting. Want no part of it. Want no part of it.
that cracks me up. But no, I thought it was pretty funny. I also like that they put her birthday or her age in wolf years. I thought that was a fun little joke.
Well, that was the thing. Like someone, like one of the girls, was like, "Oh, you put her age in dog years. That was thoughtful." It's like, no, it's wolf years. If it was dog years, it'd be 87. Uh,
Yeah.
but I was like, oh, they really put research into that. So very good.
Yeah.
Actually, that reminds me because it was the sisters who did that.
hmm
At the start of the episode, Sam's like, "Oh yeah, you did a really good job of that tag team match." Here's the thing, though: we can't put a tag team who's the KKK on TV.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to come up with something else. But he seemed
With the
impressed. He was at least impressed that they
yeah.
thought outside the box. He was like, okay, right, so you need to think of something else that's a bit more TV friendly.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you need to do something different. But, so the final scene, I again really liked. It follows straight on from the previous. I've not actually spoke about Debbie's plot, we'll do that in a second. But the final scene,
Yeah.
Ruth goes in for the operation, and, the doctor's like, you sure you've thought of your options? This is definitely what you want to do. She sort of makes her confirm everything. And she does. And there's a great little moment where she's like, all right, in a second I'm going to do this, and it's going to, cause some discomfort or whatever. And it's like she's making sure she's ready. And there's this little great moment where Ruth just says, "I'm a wrestler," just to herself, just very, very subtly. And the doctor asks again, "What did you say?" It's like, "Oh, I said no, I'm ready." And I really like that little touch because it was kind of like she was reassuring us because obviously you say I'm a wrestler, that sounds tough. You're a tough person. You can handle anything
Yeah.
because you're a wrestler. You're a champion, and it's almost like she does feel a little bit scared about what she's doing, and she's trying to reassure herself. And it's this nice little moment of just sort of like, in a weird way, doing g.l.o.w, doing this show, training for this has gave her this strength, and it's actually
Yeah.
great to see how that's developed for herself, where it has given her this confidence almost. But not just in the sense as a performer where she is going out and she's doing the Russian character and whatever.
Yeah.
that she feels stronger as a person because she's committed to something, because she's gotten better at it, and all these things. So,
Exactly. So I was gonna say she's committed herself to something. She has something to show for it. It's not just going on auditions and being told you're not right for the part. Like she's still kind of doing what the lady in the pilot told her, that you make other people look good in casting sessions, but now she's doing it as her job, you know? But she's doing it by her own agency. Like she's choosing this, and she's come quite far in just these, 7, 8 episodes.
yeah, I like. Obviously, I loved the last episode, but I think this might even be a stronger episode, mainly
Mhm.
because from a character point of view, this is actually a lot heavier and deeper, and it hits harder.
Yeah.
And I was really impressed from the moment Sam picks her up in the car, and that awkward silence on the way to the clinic, and
Yep.
then of course the scene where he like jumps in with the I'm the husband" line, and then the final scene. All of it felt really well written and poignant, to the point where I was like,
Hmm.
man, this show actually, like, it's not just funny anymore. It's actually good, like good, and
Yeah.
like not to put the like it was always good, but it's reaching a level of maturity in the
Yeah.
writing that I was not expecting, and I was legitimately impressed. I was like, oh, this is
Because
fantastic.
it touches back on reality, because this is a
Yeah.
decision that's gonna affect her going forward. You know.
It's interesting because up until this point, I've been comparing it a lot to sports movies like Cool Runnings, or even like Sister Act 2, to like a dancing or a music competition movie kind of thing. Like, it has that kind of feel that it was, got a group of characters come together, they all learn what they're
Hmm.
doing, and eventually go and try and win the prize, or in this case, do the pilot.
All right.
And this is the first time where I feel like, oh, it's reaching for something much higher than that, because you would never get this really poignant abortion story in the middle of one of those
No.
movies. That would never, it would really impact the flow of Cool Runnings if, halfway through the movie, one of the bobsledders' wives was getting an abortion, and it was this like hearty scene at the
I'm
hospital.
so glad you said that, because if you would have said John Candy, I would have died laughing.
Like, so I feel like, oh, it's doing some really great stuff, and like I think Ruth as a character who's always been entertaining
Hmm.
feels like she has a lot more depth as a result of this episode.
Yeah.
Uh, Now, obviously,
Definitely.
I think it's very interesting that it parallels with what's going on with the Debbie plot in this episode, who does go home to pick up her baby from the husband, and she slaps down the divorce papers. Apparently, she didn't read them very well, because he points out a lot of weird things that he'd put in that divorce
Yeah.
document that I don't think she would have ever agreed to. Some really silly stuff, but it basically says, "Oh, I was angry and I didn't really mean to give you them," but like, yeah, he rips them up, and he goes on about how he's at therapy, uh, and stay for dinner, let me cook something, and she's like, "Well, since when do you cook?" I was like, "When my wife left me," so which I thought was a pretty good line.
Hmm.
But so they have their dinner, and she gets emotional, and they actually, for the first time in the show, have a conversation about why things broke down, and he talks about how she wasn't really speaking to him anymore. Never mind, like, being intimate, like all that seemed
Right.
to go away. And I really like the moment actually where she's like, "I just had a baby," and he's like, "No, it was before that," because it almost takes. I'm still very much more on her side in this argument,
Yeah.
because he is kind of a douchebag. Although he's more of a human being douchebag now than he was. Like, last episode, he was almost cartoony douchebag where I just hated him.
Yeah.
Whereas this episode, it's like, oh, right, okay, he's actually, again, he's got some depth. There's actually kind of a real person here, even if he has been a bit of an asshole. Uh, and because it almost takes the wind out of her sails, where she's like, oh wait, so my get out of jail free card, where none of this was my fault, kind of thing, just get taken away, because it was before that. And
Yep.
she's kind of forced to confront that, and they end up having this kind of awkward hug at the end, where he's like, "Oh, my therapist tells me to do this," and I'm like, "Yeah, you're
For
being a douchebag again."
intimacy.
Like, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
your heart's in the right place here, but this is still incredibly douchey.
But yeah, he's forcing her to be intimate, and that's part of the thing. You can't force that, you know. And he's, oh yeah, my we have to do this, for 30 seconds 3 times a day.
And she's like, "Don't push
And
your
what?
luck." But I like that, because
Yeah.
that showed that she was willing to do it this once. Like, the way she
Yeah.
was spoiled, it wasn't like she was being forced into this hug. And
Right.
I wouldn't have predicted there was a chance of them getting back together by the end of the season. I'm not still sure they will or won't, but I think there's a chance of it now, where they might actually patch things up, depending on where this goes.
Yeah, I mean, he seemed pretty upset that she was working as a wrestler, you know.
Yeah,
So,
that's the biggest negative for me right now is his attitude to her working life, and that kind of disrespect makes it very hard to want him to kind of have
because
any
if they
kind of
want to get
happy
back
ending.
together, that's like, I'm gonna treat this like a real married couple. That's their issue
Hmm.
to fix. But if he's gonna be like a bully and be like, well, you can't go wrestle, even though we've seen her become good at it, and that's what she wants to do, then it's kind of like, well, she's just making the same mistake
Hmm.
again.
And I think it's I think what makes this all have a different spin on it is because the Ruth plot that's gone throughout the episode. By the time we learn that she's pregnant with his baby, it puts this extra layer underneath that entire plot line where you're like, oh wait, well, okay, maybe there's a chance they can reconcile, but Ruth's pregnant. That kind of messes everything up. Like, imagine Ruth having to go to Debbie and say, "Oh, by the
Yeah,
way, I'm having your kid's brother or sister."
yeah,
Like that would throw her. And I don't think she's even going to tell her. Maybe she will eventually. Maybe that'll be something she brings. Like if this goes like 5 seasons, I can see it being
yeah.
something she admits like at the end of the show, and it'll be this really like heavy moment. But I feel like right now, like she's going to, especially when she sees them kind of maybe reconciling a little bit, she might make the choice. No, I can't. I mean, she probably wouldn't want to anyway, to be honest. But like there'll be an extra layer to it where she'll say, "No, I'm not going to risk ruining their marriage again by telling them this. They don't actually need to know. It's been it's been taken care of. Nothing's coming from it because she made a choice to have the abortion,
Right.
and she can make that choice to not further complicate things." But
Yeah,
no, that was a really good episode.
yeah.
I was really impressed. Like I've been having a lot of fun, but this episode, that everything from when Ruth got in the car to the end of the episode, it legitimately, it gave me feelings. I had the feels, and I wasn't necessarily expecting to have the feels in this show, so
I
I'm
just know you
impressed.
you messaged me earlier and you said this episode was so good.
Yeah,
So I had something to look forward to, and no, it wasn't hyperbole. So it was
yeah.
that good. The hype delivered.
I praise it. I am now actively excited and anticipating a second season. Hopefully they will renew it soon, and it seems to be getting a lot of buzz. People are liking it a lot,
Yeah,
so I would
and,
expect that
and
that'll come.
and I've really only seen positive buzz too. I
Yeah,
haven't seen too many people dragging it down, so that's always good.
yeah. So there you go. That is by far the longest we've been on one of these episodes, but it was definitely the most meaty in terms of sort of dramatic
Mhm.
moments. So I fully welcome it. Uh, so there we go. That is Glow episode 8. Let us know what you thought of the episode in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel and everything we do here and keep everything going, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv and check out some of the bonuses over there. But that is us. So thank you very much once again for watching. Keep watching TV, guys. We'll be back with the next review, the penultimate episode on Thursday. So we'll see you then. Have you got any vanilla?